I'd like to call to order the Oconee County Planning Commission. It is Monday, August the 2nd, 2021. And unless anyone objects, I'll go ahead and read the invocation. Thank you for the beauty of this area, Oconee land for generations to come. We ask that your spirit be present among us and help us to work with cooperation and respect for differing opinions. We ask for your guidance as we plan for the future of the county in a positive and constructive manner. Please bless all those who work for the betterment of the county and keep them in your peace, prosperity, good health, and love. Pledge of Allegiance. Any volunteers? You can do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes, July the 8th, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? There's a lot of them. Can I hear a motion that we approve the July the 8th, 2021 minutes?
So move.
There's a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we got the July the 19th, 2021 minutes also. Are there any corrections or deletions to those minutes? There's a lot of them. We were busy. Can I hear a motion that they be approved?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I guess there's no public comment for non-agenda items. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Commission member comments. I have a couple here very quickly. The Planning and Economic Development Committee has asked the Planning Commission to address reducing curb cuts and increasing auxiliary turn lanes on certain corridors. Auxiliary turn lanes are accelerate or decelerate lanes. With that, usually there's been conversation about requiring harmonizing chapters 26, which is roads and bridges, 32 unified performance standards, and 38 zoning. Next, RV ordinance requires a revision, and strategies that require annual review are coming up. We did the 2021s, but we've got some that require an annual review. Anybody else got any comments? Staff comments?
None at this time.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go on with the public hearing. I have something I need to read to you so that we can do this public hearing according to certain parliamentary procedures that we use for South Carolina. Public hearings are the method required by the Home Rule Act for the county to gain input from the public at large. Planning Commission members should refrain from making comments during the public hearing and should neither enter into debate with the public nor with other members during the public hearing. There is no time limit for public comments. At the conclusion of the public hearing, a motion will be made and seconded to address the rezoning request. A discussion by the Planning Commission members will follow. Matters addressed during the public hearing may be commented on during the Commission's discussion. The chairperson will call for a vote at the end of the discussion phase. This can be either a voice or hand vote, and the chairperson will announce the vote's results. The Planning Commission's decision will then be forwarded to the County Council for further action. Any questions? We are ready for that phase of public comment. Time is unlimited. Anybody? Anybody that I'm not seeing? I guess we have no public comment at this time. Then I will go ahead and be bold enough to make a motion at this time. I move that parcel 129-00-04-028 be rezoned from Conservation District to Lake Residential District. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, there's a second to that. Let's enter the discussion phase. We're open for discussion. Mike?
So I was looking through it to see and had asked a few questions about Waterstone originally. It looked as though in 2014, Thomas Shamans, he was one of the original developers for that community. He had, after developing the community, having a section of land, which many developers do, that they end up putting in conservation or something because too many interior lots, not the availability to sell them, no market for them, et cetera. But he took one section of that back out, and that's this 4 some odd acres, and put it as a residential for himself. Interestingly, at that time, the county changed it from agriculture to residential as a category. The 74 acres still showing agriculture, this one little lot now showing residential. But I think the biggest thing is that starting in 2014, the tax rate also changed to residential. So since that time, they've been paying taxes on it as though it were a individual lot as opposed to something in a conservancy or something under agriculture. So the county judged it as being a residential lot because they were taxing on it.
So what type of conservation easement was on it? Or is it the county overlay from the lake or what type of?
That would be a question for Vivian. For me, it looked just like agriculture land. I'm assuming, though, that
It is actually zoned Conservation District.
It's not a conservation easement.
It's not an easement, it is actually zoned. Like you have control-free district, you have lake residential district, it is Conservation District, and that is how it's zoned, not taxed.
was there a benefit, a tax benefit or some other benefit to the developer originally for putting it that way?
I couldn't find anything. Originally, when I looked at it, I thought it was a mistake. I did contact Lisa Simmering, and she said, nope, not a mistake. It was to go into Conservation District. She didn't know the whole background of it as to the why, but she has the paperwork showing that it was supposed to be Conservation District.
David? Pat, you got any more?
Just a concern. Will this open the door for everybody now? Hey, I want to change mine back from conservation to a residential. I mean,
So well, perhaps that's a question
I
for
think
you.
this is a unique piece of property because Conservation District is supposed to be 10 acres or more. How this came at 4.3, I don't know, but the people want to build a house on the property that they purchased last year. So that's where this is coming up as a question. It should be 10 acres if it's zoned Conservation District. I don't know what happened, I don't know the why, I just know Lisa said it is correct.
It's just interesting that it shows residential under any of the descriptions that we have, like on the public facing side, compared to the other sections that show as an agriculture. And then again, to me, the biggest thing is that when that switch was made in 2014, the tax rate started being adjusted to being a residential tax rate. So to me, the county already made that call.
They call it residential. Frankie, you got anything?
Do we have a letter from the HOA?
I believe we have.
Approving that.
Pays his dues, it was an invoice from the HOA.
So is this just showing that they paid their dues? Are they in agreement with?
I don't see anyone here opposing.
Okay.
And they, I did do the public notice, there's signs out there, I did the mailing, so the neighborhood is aware that this is going on tonight.
Speaking of the HOA, I noticed in this letter that there was a sentence here that said we envisioned dividing the lot for our children to build a home next door. I think that would be an HOA issue at this point rather than a planning commission issue of subdividing. Or it may actually be a crescent restriction because that was originally crescent land.
Possibly.
And to your concern about everybody wanting to change, our zoning is set up to where no matter what category you're in, you can always ask for a rezoning. The conservation bank, that's a whole different ballgame where you have to deal with the conservation. So, I don't think we're gonna have a run on, hopefully, we don't have a run on rezoning, but
Right.
So when you do rezone, you can never rezone back to control-free. If it's control-free, you can rezone to anything else. Anything else cannot go back to control-free. It can go from conservation to lake residential to agricultural to whatever you want, but it can never go back to control-free.
Alex, you got anything?
I assume that initially this 4 acres or so was part of the larger tract. Is that kind of the history, the 48 acres?
That was the impression that I got,
Okay.
because it was the developer who originally bought it out of, and so he was a developer, and then he shows on the deed is acquiring that. So I'm assuming it was out of.
And the 32 acres there is actually owned by the HOA, right?
Yes, now it is.
Anybody else got anything? Well, then I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of supporting the motion? You want me to read it again?
Sure.
Okay. I can find it. I move that parcel 192-00-04-028 be rezoned from Conservation District to Lake Residential District. And we had a second on that. Has everybody gotten their discussion points? Everybody? And I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of that motion, just signify by raising a hand. There are no opposed, so the motion passes and the vote was 6-0.
Okay. Now we have to send it to county council.
Now it goes to county council and they will then have a hearing that go through their process. The next step is to adjourn.
Maybe you should motion and vote it going to county council?
Okay, I will make a motion then that this previous motion be forwarded to the county council. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising a hand. Vote is 6-0. It goes forward to the county council. Thank you, Vivian, for keeping me out of trouble.
Always does.
Then let's try it again. Is there a motion to adjourn at this point?
so move.
All those